Hello everyone and welcome to the new session of the lecture series, and today we'll be solving the NCERT based multiple choice questions from the chapter Photosynthesis in Higher Plants. Alright, so we have already discussed some of the MCQs in the previous lecture, and we will be discussing the rest of the MCQs today in this lecture. Alright, so let's start with the first question. So here they are saying that which one of the following statement is incorrect regarding the photosynthetic pigments? Alright, now what are photosynthetic pigments? Pigments such as chlorophyll A, and then we have chlorophyll B, which is accessory pigments. Okay, and then we have pigments such as carotenes, xanthophyll. All these are accessory pigments. Okay, only chlorophyll A is the primary pigment. Alright, so question is about the pigments here. We have to select the incorrect statement. So let's look at the statements now. So option A, pigments are substances that have the ability to absorb light at specific wavelength. Alright, next option is chlorophyll B is the chief pigment associated with the photosynthesis. Alright, this is not true because chlorophyll A is the chief pigment here. I've already told you chlorophyll A is the primary pigment or the chief pigment. Okay, and it forms what it forms? It forms the reaction center in the photosystem. Alright, it forms the reaction center. A single chlorophyll A molecule forms the reaction center in the photosystem. Okay, now let's talk about the third option. Leaf pigments can be separated by chromatography. So this is correct. We can use paper chromatography to separate the leaf pigments. Alright, paper chromatography is used, in which we have we have the mobile phase, which is the solvent, and we have the stationary phase, which is the cellulosic paper. Okay, now option D is accessory pigments protect the chlorophyll A from photooxidation. So this is also true. Okay, for example, carotenoids, they protect the chlorophyll A molecules from photooxidation. So what they do? They absorb the energy from the chlorophyll A. Alright, so during high light intensity, so what happens during very high light intensity? So this high light intensity can damage the chlorophyll A molecule due to photooxidation, means release of electrons during high light intensity. Okay, this can cause photooxidation of the chlorophyll A molecule. But what happens? Carotenoids, which are the accessory pigments, this can absorb the energy from the chlorophyll A. Okay, this absorbs energy from the chlorophyll A. It absorbs the extra energy from chlorophyll A and protect chlorophyll A from the process of photooxidation. So this is also correct. Okay, first statement is also correct. This is also correct because pigments are how are they are defined? They absorb the light at specific wavelength. So what should be the correct answer here? Option B is the incorrect statement here. Chlorophyll A is the chief pigment and not chlorophyll A and not chlorophyll B. Now coming to the next question, which is which of the following pair are matched correctly? Okay, so here again they are talking about the photosynthetic pigments. So this is the color on the chromatogram. Okay, this is the color, this is the pigment. Okay, so blue-green color, chlorophyll A. Okay, this is correct. Chlorophyll A has blue-green color. Then we have yellow-green. xanthophylls. So this is not correct. Okay, yellow green color is of chlorophyll B. Chlorophyll B has yellow green color. And then third is yellow to yellow orange, which are carotenoids. So this is also correct. Okay, carotenoids can be yellow, they can be yellow orange, or they can be orange also. Okay, so these are the options. Select the correct answer from the codes given below. First is 1 and 3 only, then we have second and 3 only, first only, and all of the above. So what should be the answer? 1 and 3 are the correct combination here. The next question is the light harvesting complex. They are talking about the light harvesting complex is made up of. Okay, so if we talk about light harvesting complex, suppose, okay, what is light harvesting complex made up of? It is made up of hundreds of pigments, pigment molecules, or you can say it is made up of lot of pigment molecules, and we have the reaction center here. So these pigment molecules, they capture the light energy, or you can say they capture the energy stored in the sunlight, and what they do, they transfer the energy to the reaction center, which is made up of single chlorophyll A molecule. Okay, and this reaction center, which is made up of a single chlorophyll A molecule, this gets excited. All right, electrons are released, which are accepted here by the primary acceptor. So this is a light harvesting complex. Okay, so there are two types of light harvesting complex, light harvesting complex 1 and 2, present in what? Photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 respectively. Okay, so now you can see here the light harvesting complex consists of hundreds of pigment molecules, okay, bound to proteins. So these are bound to proteins also. Okay, and they transfer the energy, they capture the energy from the sunlight, and they transfer energy to the reaction center. Okay, so let's look at the options here. First option is 1 molecule of chlorophyll A. This is not correct. This is the reaction center and not the light harvesting complex. Okay, reaction center. Then second option is very few molecules of chlorophyll A. Again, not true. Okay, then we have 100 of pigment molecules bound to protein. This is correct. And then fourth option is chlorophyll A, C, protein, and DNA. There is no DNA present here. So what should be the answer? 100 of pigment molecules bound to proteins. The next question is, in a plant cell, which of the following pigments participate directly in the light reaction of photosynthesis? And the options are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, chlorophyll D, and carotenoids. Okay, so chlorophyll A, again we know it forms the reaction center. Okay, now this reaction center, let's talk about photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. In photosystem 1, the reaction center consists of a single chlorophyll A molecule which absorbs or which has absorption maxima at around 700 nanometer. Okay, and photosystem 2 has single chlorophyll A molecule, okay, which has absorption maximum at around 680 nanometer. Or you can say photosystem is activated by the light of wavelength, okay, around 680. And PS1 is activated by light of higher wavelength, 700 or more. So this is around 680 or less. All right. And here we have this single chlorophyll A molecule, which is the chief pigment. Chlorophyll A is the chief or the primary pigment. and rest are the accessory pigments. So chlorophyll D, chlorophyll B, carotenoids. What are these? These are the accessory pigments. All right. So what happens? This single chlorophyll A molecule, this absorbs the light, okay, or the energy from the sunlight, and it gets excited. All right. And what happens? Accessory pigments also capture the light energy and they transfer it to the reaction center, okay, present in the photosystem 1 and 2. And then this also, okay, and the reaction center gets excited and releases electrons. So what should be the pigment that participate directly in the light reaction? It should be chlorophyll A. So chlorophyll A, which is the chief pigment, is involved directly in the light reaction, okay, because it gets excited, okay, due to the absorption of the sunlight and releases electron, all right, which is accepted by the primary acceptor. Now coming to the next question, which is, in photosynthesis, protons accumulate in, okay, inner membrane space of mitochondria. This is not true. Mitochondria is involved in respiration and not photosynthesis. So this option is not correct. Then again, matrix of mitochondria. This is also not correct. Third option is lumen of thylakoid, and fourth option is stroma of the thylakoid. Okay. Now let's see. Let's discuss these 2 points. So suppose this is a thylakoid membrane. All right. Here photosystem 2 is present. Here photosystem 1 is present. Here what happens? Photolysis of water takes place. Okay. Oxygen is released here. Photosystem 1, what happens? NADP is converted into what? NADPH. Okay. Here we have the cytochrome B6F, which is the electron carrier. All right. So what happens here? Protons here get accumulated in the lumen of the, this is the lumen of the thylakoid. What is this? This is the thylakoid membrane. Okay. This is the thylakoid membrane where all these complexes are present. Photosystem 2, cytochrome B6F and PS1. Okay, photosystem 1. So as the electrons, okay, are transferred from one carrier to the other, protons are also, okay, they move from the stroma to the lumen. Protons get accumulated here. Okay, lot of protons from the stroma. So this is the stroma region. From the stroma, protons get transferred into the lumen. All right. So this is clear. So what should be the answer here? Lumen of the thylakoid. In photosynthesis, protons accumulate in the lumen of the thylakoid and not into the stroma of the thylakoid. Okay. The next question is, which one of the following is incorrect about the activities associated with photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 in non-cyclic photophosphorylation? Okay, so they are talking about the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, so what is non-cyclic photophosphorylation? We have photosystem 2 here and it involves photosystem 1 also. So the reaction center gets excited here when it's absorbed the energy from the sunlight. Okay, it gets excited. Here we have P680. Here we have the primary acceptor. Noted like this, primary acceptor of electrons. Okay, then the electron, they move downhill. Alright, towards what? Photosystem 1. Okay, where here we have the photosystem 1. And then what happens? Electrons are moving like this. Here we have which complex? Cytochrome B6F. Okay, finally electrons are transferred to photosystem 1, and now again this photosystem 1 gets excited by the light of the longer wavelength. Here the reaction center is P700. This will get excited, and again there will be a primary acceptor here also. Primary electron acceptor. Alright, so this is the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, also known as the Z scheme. Here what happens? Photosystem 2, water harvesting complex is present here. So here splitting of water results in the release of oxygen. Okay, oxygen is released here, and what happens in photosystem 1 here? NADP is converted into NADPH. Alright, here NADP reductase enzyme is present. So let's look at the options. First option, water is oxidized in PS2 but not in PS1. Okay, so this option is correct, and we have to select the incorrect statement. Second option is photons are needed to activate both photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So this is also correct. The next third option is photosynthesis of water takes place, formation of ATP and NADPH occurs. So this is also correct. And then last option is production of NADPH is associated with photosystem 2 but not photosystem 1. So this option is incorrect here. Okay, here you can see photolysis of water takes place at photosystem 2, whereas NADPH production takes place at photosystem 1. Okay, here photosystem 1 we have here. So okay, so what is the incorrect option? D is the incorrect one. So this is the answer for this question. The next question is, which of the following statement is again incorrect? Alright, the first option is photosystem 1 receives electron from photosystem 2. This is also correct, because here we have photosystem 2, here we have photosystem 1. The electron, this photosystem 2 gets excited and transfer the electron to photosystem 1. Alright, and photosystem 2 receives electron from what? From the photolysis of water. Okay, plus hydrogen, and electrons are also released. So these electrons fill up the empty space in the photosystem 2, and photosystem 2 gets excited when it absorbs the energy from the sunlight or when it absorbs the photons. Alright, electrons, here there will be a primary acceptor, and then electrons move downhill, and then the electrons are accepted by the photosystem 1. Later photosystem 1 is also gets excited and it releases the electrons, which is accepted by the primary acceptor here. And what happens? Here NAD is converted into NADPH. Alright, so which statement is incorrect here? This we have seen, photosystem 2 receive electron from photolytic dissociation of water. This is also true. Now option C, formation of NADPH is associated with photosystem 2. This is not correct, because formation of water or formation of oxygen. Okay, oxygen is released here and splitting of water takes place. Okay, and not NADPH. NADPH formation is associated with photosystem 1. Alright, here. Now, so this option is incorrect. Fourth option is reaction center of photosystem 1 is P70. So this is also true. Photosystem 1 has a reaction center P700, means it has a maximum absorption at around 700 nanometer, whereas PS2 has photosystem of P680. Alright, so what should be the correct answer here? Option C is the incorrect statement and is the answer to this question. The next question is, which among the following sentence is incorrect about the light reaction? Alright, so first it is known as the photochemical phase. So this is true, because what happens during the light reaction? The light energy is converted into what? Chemical energy. Okay, initially this chemical energy is stored in what? ATP and NADPH. Then this ATP and NADPH are used for the synthesis of carbohydrates. Okay, next option is it includes light absorption, water splitting, oxygen release, and the formation of high energy chemical intermediates such as ATP and NADPH. Alright, so this is also correct. Now third option is reaction center consists of single molecule of chlorophyll A but 2 molecules of chlorophyll B. So this is not correct, because the reaction center only consists of single molecule of chlorophyll A. Okay. Now fourth option, the pigments are organized into 2 discrete photochemical light harvesting complexes within photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So this is also correct. So what should be the answer here? Option C. So this is the incorrect statement. Now coming to the next question, which is, during the light stage of photosynthesis, means they are talking about the light reaction, the photoactivated pigment removes an electron from the hydroxyl radical derived from the water molecules. The fate of the free hydroxy radical is that. So here what they are talking about? They are talking about the hydrolysis of water. Okay, or you can say splitting of the water molecules. Okay, so this is the equation for the splitting of the water molecules. Okay, 4 hydrogen are released as free radical. Then we have the oxygen and we have electrons also are released. Alright. So options are, is broken down into oxygen and a free radical of hydrogen. So this is correct. Alright. The hydroxyl is broken down into oxygen. There is release of oxygen. Okay. The second is used to raise the activation level of chlorophyll by donating a positive charge. This is not correct. Then third option is used to produce adenosine triphosphate from adenosine diphosphate. This is also not correct. Fourth option is reduces carbon dioxide to sugar. This is also not correct. So what should be the answer? Option A is the correct answer here. Now coming to the next question, which is reduction of NADP plus to NADPH during light reaction occurs in stroma. Okay, because NADP reductase enzyme is located on the stroma side of the membrane. So this is true. This is the fact. Okay, it is present near photosystem 1. Okay, and then second option is PS1. Photosystem 1 reduces NADP to NADPH in the stroma. Okay, so this is also correct. Third option is pH of the stroma remain constant, which is not correct. So what should be the answer? Both A and B are correct. Okay, so this is the answer. Now next question is energy diagram for the transfer of electrons in the light reaction of photosynthesis in plants is called cyclic phosphorylation, non-cyclic photophosphorylation, Z scheme or Z band. Okay. Now let's again talk about the Z scheme here. Okay. So Z scheme, what is the Z scheme? It is a energy diagram. Z scheme is what? Then Z scheme is the energy diagram. Okay, why it is called Z scheme? Because of its zigzag pattern. Okay, so this pattern is observed. This I've already drawn this figure, photosystem 2. We have, okay, it gets excited. Here we have the primary acceptor of the electron. Alright, which you can say can be phaeophytin. Okay, this accepts the electron from photosystem 2. And then what happens? Electrons move downhill to photosystem 1. And then photosystem 1 also gets excited, releases electrons. And here what happens? Again, NADP is converted into NADPH. Alright. Here oxygen is generated due to splitting of the water molecule. Okay, so this is the zigzag pattern or the Z or the Z scheme. This is known as the Z scheme. Here we have the energy. On this side we have the energy. Towards the lower side we have the lower energy. And as we move upwards, we have the higher energy. We have the higher energy, and this energy is measured in volts. Alright, so this is the Z scheme, which is the energy diagram. Alright, so what should be the answer here? Option C is the correct answer. The next question is the chemiosmotic mechanism. Okay, or the chemiosmotic hypothesis given by Peter Michel. Okay, this mediates ATP synthesis, splitting of water, reduction of NADP plus, and flow of electrons from photosystem 2 to photosystem 1. So this is very straightforward. Okay, it mediates ATP synthesis. Okay, so again let's talk about the thylakoid membrane. So this is the thylakoid membrane. ATP synthesis is present here. Alright, ATP synthase. ATP synthase, which is involved in the ATP production. So this is known as the F0 part. This is the F1. So what happens? We have already discussed that protons accumulate in the lumen of the thylakoid. So this is the lumen of the thylakoid. Okay. Now what happens? There is a high electromotive force here. Okay. There is a high electrochemical gradient, you can say, and there is a low electrochemical gradient here. Okay. So what happens here? Due to this, the protons, they flow back into the stroma, or there is a breakdown of the proton gradient. Protons from the lumen go back to the or re-enter the stroma. Okay. And when they enter back to the stroma through F0, okay, which is the transmembrane channel, there is synthesis of ATP here. Okay, ATP is synthesized from ADP and inorganic phosphate. Okay, so this is known as the chemiosmotic hypothesis in brief, and it results in, or it tells you about the ATP synthesis. Alright, now next question is correct equation for that represents the photolysis of water. Okay, means breakdown of water. So this is again a straightforward answer. These are the options. So what should be the answer here? Answer is 2H2O, okay, breaks down into 4 hydrogen radical, oxygen released, and 4 electrons are released. Okay, this is not true. This is not balanced as well. This is also not true, not balanced. This is also not correct. So what should be the correct answer? Option A is the correct answer. The next question is ATP synthesis in photosynthesis involves what? Establishment of a proton gradient, oxidation of water, reduction of NADP plus, or flow of electrons. Alright, so ATP synthesis, when it happens, first there is separation of the proton gradient. Okay, so as the electron moves downhill, there is a generation of the proton gradient across the membrane, and the breakdown of the proton gradient leads to the synthesis of ATP. Okay, first is the establishment, and then establishment of proton gradient takes place how? By the downhill transfer of electrons from one carrier to other carrier. Okay, so option A is correct. Establishment of the proton gradient is important for the ATP synthesis. The next question is, which of the following statement is incorrect? Alright, first is site of photosynthesis, mesophyll cell of chloroplast. Second option is, in Z scheme, movement of electrons is uphill in terms of redox potential scale. So this is not correct. It is always downhill. Okay, it is downhill, not uphill. Next option is, in Z scheme of photosynthesis, electrons flow from water to NADPH. This is also correct. Okay, electrons are released by the splitting of the water molecules. These electrons are accepted by photosystem 2 first. Okay, then photosystem 2 transfer electrons to photosystem 1, and photosystem 1, it transfer electrons to NAD plus. Okay, and NAD plus is converted into NADPH. Okay, so and let's talk about the last option. ATP synthesis is linked to development of proton gradient across the membrane. So this is also true. Okay, so what is the incorrect statement here? B. B is the incorrect statement. It is not uphill, it is downhill. Alright, so this is the answer for this question. So this was the end of this session. We'll continue with the rest of the question in the next lecture. Thank you very much for listening.